All right, hey guys, what's going on? My name is Chris Huckes, and this is your best life defined. Touching on those resolutions, I'm good. Still not drinking, still working out, still doing 3 meals a day, keeping the snacking down. I've had a few snacks in the middle of things. I eat plenty of apples now. I guess that's one of the things I can do, but I'm not eating like sandwiches and cookies and all kinds of those bad things. Try and supplement my meals with fruit or celery, stuff like that. It's going good for me. If you're still not, if you're on your resolution train, you're rolling down the tracks and it's getting tough. It's going to get easier. I promise that. If you've dropped off on whatever it is you had resolved to do on January 1st, that's okay. I'm a quitter. I quit drinking 52 times last year. I'm good at it. I'm doing better this year. You just got to jump back on that train. You got to build another story around it. You got to take that action, remove all the emotions from it, just jump on that bad boy and just do it. You'll get there. And in essence, that's the story of our life, right? That's the story of our life with everything that we do or we accomplish, right? This is why not everyone you know is a millionaire. This is why you have debt. This is why you're carrying the weight you're carrying. And bigger than that, this is why our lives look like it does, is because our lives are a representation of our ability to see more of the story than is there. You think about what happens to the average guy, the average relationship, 30, 40 years old, you're not moving in any amazing direction. You're not moving and shaking the world, creating businesses or creating new ideas or doing a podcast or writing a book or any of that stuff. You're waking up every day to your life. You're dragging your butt out of bed and you're going through the steps. The meals, the kids, the obligations, the appointments. You get home, you face what you have to face, do what you have to do, and then you repeat it. You can't let your story get stale. And what's funny is it's easy to do. It doesn't matter how difficult your struggle is. The cool thing about it is we adapt. We're very adaptable. I remember I worked construction, and one of my first jobs in construction was doing concrete, and I was like 19 years old, right? Have you ever done concrete work for a living? Have you ever done concrete work at all? It's hard work, right? You work. And I remember thinking the first few days I was working concrete, I'm thinking, how in the hell? I can't do this. There's no way. I can't do that. I can't do this. I look back at those days now, I'm like, that wasn't shit, right? And the only reason I'm not still doing concrete is because I was looking at my story, and that is what my life looked like. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to add a new chapter to my story. And it was a struggle, right? It's always a struggle to add things to your life. That's why we seldom do it. But just like that concrete, when I first started doing it, I couldn't believe I would be able to do it day in and day out. I adapted to it. And that's the same thing that happens when you decide to start changing your story. See, that's the cool part about this thing called life. It is wholly and totally your life. In the end, the only choices that really matter are the choices that you make. You don't have to include the people in your life that you currently do. You don't have to have a life that looks anything like the life you're living right now. The issue is, do you have the endurance, the vision to be able to see a different story for yourself? I do. I see great stories for myself all the time. I'm telling myself all kinds of crazy stuff about me. Best thing that ever happened to me. This podcast is going to blow up. It's going to be there when they get to the moon, and when they discover life in other universes. Guess what? The first thing they're going to realize is that my podcast was being heard up there. I'm broadcasting to Mars, right? a little exaggeration there, but that's the culmination of greatness. Just being able to see what isn't there yet. To be able to see in your mind what is not physically in front of you. This story for me keeps getting better because I can see it growing. I see it growing. I keep thinking to myself, well, how'd I do? And even if I suck, I'll do it again tomorrow. I'll get better tomorrow. Look at your story. What could your story be? Is this it? Are you going to be the construction worker who got old and then retired and then died? Are you going to be the adventurer, the guy who sold everything and bought a boat and decided to go king crab fishing? I don't know. It's your story. You can be a musician. You can be an author. You don't have to do the job you're doing. All you have to do is create a story around where you want to go with your career. Build a list of steps to get there, and then wake up every day and take one of those steps and focus on those steps. And when things fall in front of you, when walls are there and you're like, how do I get around this? You just keep working and grinding because you see the story. You know where you want your life to go. I know it seems like well, it's so simple. It ain't that easy. Yes, it is easy. It's easy. Remove the emotion from it. The idea of being successful and finding happiness and contentment in your life has nothing to do with how you feel about getting there. It's all about how it feels to get there. I wasn't thinking about the struggle of getting rid of all of our stuff and selling the house and learning how to pull a fifth wheel, a 41-foot fifth wheel across the country, or to navigate or to do all the things we had to learn in order to live the life we're living. All we were thinking about was how great that story was going to be when we were finally able to do it. And see, what's funny about it is other people tell us, Sandy and I, my wife and I, that it's a cool story. We like following your story. But we've been doing life this way so long, where we start out with nothing and we just start building these ideas, and the next thing you know, we take action, and then our life is expanding and it's growing. It doesn't seem that amazing to me until I take a look around at how many people aren't able to do that. In the end, it comes down to two things: time and money. How are you spending your time and how are you spending your money? If you don't have either, you have limited access to the things that you want to do to improve your story, to create a great story. Because let's face it right now, if your story were a blockbuster movie, if they said, coming out tomorrow, Chris Hawkes' story, his life story, it might not be a box office smash, but there's a lot of stuff in my story that's worth listening to. There's a lot of stuff people would say, wow, holy crap. I mean, how many people have run for their life in a federal prison because there was a riot and inmates were trying to kill them? How many people have wrestled a bad guy to the ground because he was trying to get the gun away from a state patrol officer? How many people have went from high school dropout construction worker to respected law enforcement officer retiring with the federal government? Got a good story. Because I can see where it's going. We've already read that chapter. And I say this because let's bring this back to you again. Let's bring this right around to what we're really talking about here. How can you endure waking up to that same thing every day without any tangible action within that to allow you to do more? Okay, you have the house, you have the car, you have the American dream. That's not where it stops. That's where you stopped. The world is still going. There are people who have what you have and more. I'm not just talking about the physical, I'm talking about the experience of life. There you are, grinding it out, being who you are, grumpy, not wanting to change, and your neighbors over there looking for every opportunity to change. And you see it in their life. All of a sudden you see things changing and the fancy stuff's going away. Next thing you know, the house is on the market, and hey, what are you doing? Where are you guys going? We decided this isn't working for us anymore. We've paid off all of our debt, we're selling the house, and we're moving to Florida. What? Well, they decided to make their story a little better. Make their story fit who they've become. See, while we accept the fact that we're supposed to turn into our parents, we don't have to. You don't have to be just like your dad. You don't have to be just like your mom. You don't have to be like Uncle and Aunt Mary, right? You choose to. And the way you change that is you write a new story. You create a new story. And it's your story. I don't need anyone's approval for me to do a podcast. I don't need anybody's approval for me to go through the steps to produce and publish a book. Because it's all about me, right? All about what kind of story I want for myself. So where does it start? 11 minutes in, let's talk about how to start creating your story. Every story, every action, everything you will ever do in life begins with a thought. Everything you will ever do in your life begins with a thought, an idea. And you bounce that idea around and you think about that idea and you form that idea and shape it until it fits who you are. And that's an essential aspect of building a great story. You can't be me. You can't say, oh, I'm going to be a podcaster and live on the road like Chris does. No. The center of your story is you. The center of your story is based on what inspires you, what energizes you, what drives you forward. And that's essential because without fuel and positive energy, there is no way in hell you will have the endurance to reach the top of your mountain, to reach the top or to create that story that you can see for yourself. You're not going to be me. That's why I'm okay living in an RV. Because I don't care whether I look like anybody else. I don't care whether my story is like my neighbor's story or is an acceptable story. It's a perfect story for me because it inspires me. It energizes me. Everyone else sitting around going, oh, COVID-19, I can't do anything. I started a podcast and I'm almost done with a book. Wow. We're going to talk about that one, but just so you know, it's your story, and the question you have to ask yourself is, are you willing to accept where you are right now? Are you willing to just sit in the spot that you're in right now and watch time pass by, you get older without taking any steps towards anything beyond that? Or are you ready to step outside your box and say, okay, we've read this story, we've been living this story long enough, it's time for a change. What do you want to do? Let's pick something great, right? That's all it takes. And it's going to be scary, and you're going to go, oh my goodness, I can't, I don't want to, should we? Do it anyway, because you're running out of time. Every day that you waste doing what you're doing right now because it's easy is a day that you've lost that you could have spent doing something you love to do. Keep that in mind. I hope you can appreciate what I'm doing. I really appreciate it. Things are blowing up on the podcast right now. I don't understand how this thing works, but it's working pretty good for me. The downloads are increasing. I think my YouTube channel is right where it's supposed to be. Go check it out. I'd appreciate it if you would share, subscribe, follow, do whatever you can to help me out because like I said, the most important thing we can do in life is help others live a better life. And I think that's what I'm trying to do. Let me know what you think. Give me some ideas about where you're going and would you like me to talk about it. I'd be more than happy to throw it in there, give you credit for it. So keep that in mind. And until always, just remember, today's your day. Make it a good one.